self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red because I'm sleepy and couldn't think of anything.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another wonderful, fantastic episode. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. MISTER_on point.
And I can be found at Red_Calamity. Also, we are still doing the listen alerted portion of the show. So if you have a question you would like for us to answer on the show, you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Facebook, Conversation Con Artists, and send it to us that way. We have two in a possible today.
We got two in a possible. We got a letter from Colin. We got a letter from Shogun from the Government Name Podcast. And hopefully before the show ends, we'll have a letter in from Leroy Ketchum.
That means
at the Nerd Plate Podcast.
Which means that the next one of y'all that sends email will be the fourth emailer.
Next person is going to be the fourth emailer, and you will get a
goodie bag, good care package.
Goodie bag, care package, gift box, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Of some random things I decide to send you. And some of y'all have received that before, and I think they were pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off with Colin.
All right.
Episode 207, Sally Meat.
You know what, Colin? Go on.
Keep up the good work.
No.
With that. Your naming is impeccable.
Whatever.
Meat Positivity. Exclusively for Red. Laugh out loud.
I hate y'all so much.
What's up, y'all? Episode 207 live listen. Black saying, does anybody actually know who Boo Boo the Fool is? Mr. On Point not getting mad. I'm going to have to depend on my lady for that. Hold up, bro. Is there a lady now, or is this a hypothetical lady? Laugh out loud. I'll come back to that. Eating groceries and the pastor. LOL. Also, man, hell no to the eating hot soup and literally every sound effect from that. You ain't shit for that. However, I need to see this video for research purposes, so go ahead and drop that link in Facebook Messenger, please. Laugh out loud. Also, man, I'm all the way here for oral sex. Love it. My lady loves it. Everybody loves it. I'll respond more if I hear anything, LOL, about the carpool home from work.
I don't know who Boo Boo the Fool is. I don't know where most of the sayings in the black community came from. You just know them because your parents said them, and then you get older and you say the shit, or you heard your grandma. I mean, I have so many things that my grandma would say that just don't make any sense, or it's like, where you come up with that from, or how you get to there. I don't know who Boo Boo is. You must think I'm Boo Boo the Fool.
Some old smart ass black people who, you know, couldn't use their intelligence in actual society because of racism. So they just used it in the home. Like whoever said a hit dog gonna holler.
A hit dog gonna holler.
You know, they were really talking about conditioning and shit. That's what they were really talking about. But, you know, the way that they interpreted it was, you know, a hit dog gonna holler.
If you say something that got something to do with that person, they gonna say something.
And then I'm always out, and I hear that shit, and I always be like, are we talking about like hit by a car? Are we talking about abuse? Are we talking about just like discipline? I don't know. I mean, I guess a dog will holler in any of those instances, but
they would.
I don't know.
I'm not sure where all of, you know, crazy as a Betsy bug is. I don't know what a Betsy bug is, but my grandma used to say that. She crazy as a Betsy bug. We knew what it meant. We knew that the person was like really crazy, but we don't know what the fuck a Betsy bug is. So, I don't know. There's a lot of those, especially in the country. We have a whole lot of country ass sayings that everybody just knows what it means. Don't know how. Just over time you hear it and you know what it means.
Thinking about it, my mama used to sing a little song that she remembered called Mama Look at Boo Boo.
Mama Look at Boo Boo?
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is Boo Boo the Fool.
I don't know if it's Boo Boo the Fool. But I remember my mama used to sing this song.
I don't think I've ever heard
the lyrics of the song. I'm going to go by the lyrics of the song. I wonder why nobody don't like me, or is it the fact that I'm ugly? I wonder why nobody don't like me, or is it the fact that I'm ugly? I leave my whole house and home. My children don't want me no more.
Damn.
Bad talk inside the house they bring. And when I talk, they start to sing. Mama, look at boo boo, they shout. Their mother tells them, shut your mouth. That is your daddy. Oh no, my daddy can't be ugly so.
Oh, Jesus.
Shut your mouth, go away. Mama, look at boo boo day. Shut your mouth, go away. Mama, look at boo boo day. I never even really knew. I just vaguely remember mama singing that. And I didn't know it was about kids who was calling their daddy ugly.
That's so terrible.
Damn.
That's pretty awful.
Then he say, I couldn't even digest me supper due to the children's behavior. John, yes, Pa, come here a moment. Bring the belt. You're much too impudent. John says it's James who started first. James tells the story in reverse. I dragged my belt from off me waist. You should hear them screaming around the place. Oh, then it turned into abuse. Damn. Okay. Well,
they ugly ass daddy was beating their ass.
I was hoping that there was a reference to him being a fool in that instead of not being ugly, and maybe that could have been where it came from, but I just remembered that. I don't know.
I've never heard that. That's terrible. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's pretty awful.
There is a lady now. So you're going to have to inbox me for more conversation about that, because that's what you said when you told us you had a lady. But I meant to send you that pastor video. It's nothing spectacular.
It's disturbing. And how did I end up? Why did I end up seeing it? Because you said no, you didn't send it to him. So
I think I might have showed it to you. No, I don't think
you didn't show it to me. I don't know how I ended up seeing it. It's weird.
Let me tell you the variable though. Okay, and this is something I don't know if a lot of people have put thought into, but how long your tongue is goes a long way with oral sex in various forms.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that he had was a long tongue that may make a difference. But like, I mean, the tongue link make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, in a lot of different respects. But it still wasn't nothing spectacular about it for people to be acting like this is like the gold standard or something. He
was not like I guess my immediate thing was it his wife? It wasn't his wife. That wasn't his wife. Like, he's a pastor out here sleeping with his congregants. That was the bigger issue to me. Or that was like my takeaway from it. Like, goddamn nigga. And then it was obvious from the direction of the filming. He knew that she was recording it. I'm sure he didn't know she was gonna share it.
Maybe she didn't. Maybe somebody just found it.
How you find it? How somebody just find it? If it's like in her phone.
I mean, clearly, if the pastor is doing this with her and she ain't the pastor's wife, she clearly got other relationship stuff going on. It could be real easy.
Or she found out he was going down on Sister Hattie in the congregation as well, and she got mad about it.
I'm just saying, either way, bad look on his part. But the memes came out was like, it was showing dudes, and it's like when she texts you that she taking too long at Bible study, you know, and they'll have a dude crying with his phone.
Somebody made a Halloween costume with a big old tug. They grayed out their beard and shit, and they had on like what was very apparently, you could tell they were supposed to be a pastor, but somebody made a Halloween costume out of him.
Another meme was it's a meme of this girl with her legs all the way back, with her face absolutely uninterested in what's going on. And the meme said, when the head is good, but not Pastor Wilson good. So the indication is that your pastor's going to get your lady, or his oral sex was great, and it just didn't look. I don't know. I don't even know the measure, because it's like, I don't know how I look when I'm doing it. You know, and porn don't give women head right. They just don't. It's just a formality in some instances. Like, I've never seen a porn where like they don't focus on that for women, unless you're watching lesbian porn. Then it's great. But when it's a man and a woman, they don't do oral sex on women.
Not so much.
But yeah, appreciate that letter.
Yeah,
my good sir. This is from Shogun at the Government Name Podcast. Y'all go check that out. The title is Dissenting Opinion.
Because he always has one.
Took a DNA test, came back 100%. I stole that shit. Hey gang, Shotgun here from Government Name Podcast. Just some feedback from the show. One, a mutual fund sounds like the program that you were talking about. My 10th grade science teacher told me about it. He said if I just had put $50 in it a month, by the time I'm 30, I'll be a millionaire. And of course I didn't listen, but you should look into that. Number two, how do you feel about Lizzo being sued for stealing a meme? Article below. Do our copyright laws pertain to Twitter? This will be an interesting case. 3, being neighborly. I think it's pretty apparent that we need a buffer system. We need another program that is not as lethal as police officers. Call me crazy, but when calling a non-emergency number, the instinct of the responding person should not be let me bring my weapon out to engage a threat. That's literally putting the cart before the horse. I never had a problem with the old man calling the police. I just said he could have checked. Putting myself in the same position, I think I would have walked across the street, knocked on the door, rang the doorbell to see if my neighbor was okay. Substantial evidence refers to evidence that a reasonable mind could accept as adequate to support a conclusion. Walking up to this house, I don't see any other cars. I don't hear any commotion or see shadows moving inside. I don't hear loud noises. I don't hear screams. The door has been open for hours. This is the evidence that a sound mind should process before going into a situation. Granted, I do have hindsight, but... red voice. If I'm walking up to a situation where the door has been open for hours, if any criminal activity was going on, I most likely would have missed it. This is 100% unacceptable, but unfortunately it's predictable. When you train your peacekeepers as military officers, this is the results. The military does not negotiate. The military handles everything with violence. Last thing y'all need to watch The Watchmen. Yeah, I do need to look up what fund that is because we should know.
Yeah.
I got we're doing an event coming up with Brother Let's Talk, the other group I'm with, and the same lady is coming who told us about that. So I'm gonna ask her.
Oh, okay.
How do you feel about Lizzo being sued for stealing a meme? I don't know, man. Like, I think if we go to country music or rap, it's lines that have been reused over and over and over and over and over
All
again.
the time.
All the time.
Yes.
Like, can the first person who said it go back and say, I started this, but you got more popular from it than me?
Yeah, because even the girl who, so On Fleek was a thing. I don't know if people still saying it now. It was a big thing. It was one of those big phrases. But the girl who started
They don't say On Fleek no more. They say beat.
Okay. Well, when On Fleek was big, the girl that originally said that she was in the car talking about eyelashes on fleek and shit or something she said, but it got carried and she regretted or felt like I don't even know if she could have copyrighted that at the time if she had known, even if she knew it was going to blow up the way that it did. I don't know that you can claim ownership to stuff like that to like I don't know.
Well, I don't think the copyright law would apply in this case unless that person is copywriting every one of their tweets and every one of their memes. Because copyright laws is a process by which the government registers that thing to your ownership. So I don't think anybody does that. So I don't think nobody deserves credit if it's just something you said that's catchy and it catches on. You know? The first, according to the article, the first woman who actually said, I'm 100% that bitch, which is the line from Lizzo's song, they got into it at first, but then she gave her writing credits for it. Because she said, I mean, she was motivated by it. But these other two brothers that are trying to sue her,
yeah,
they won't like, they just seem like the kind of dudes who, do you know for websites, people like Domain Shop and buy domains where they think
they will be popular.
That's going to be popular, and then they try to sell it back to people?
Yeah.
These dudes kind of seem like that. They kind of seem like they shopping for little stuff. Like, it's literally, 4 or 5 words?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, as a concept, it's funny. It's
funny.
hilarious.
But if you think about all of the things, like beat, who was the first person that said her face is beat? You know what I'm saying? Like the vernacular changes. We have periods of specific phrases being popular, and it gets used everywhere, some of which even in commercial shit, which is always cringy, or like the news anchors and shit trying to, you know, be with it will use some of the terminology that's popular at the time. I mean, if you were gonna, how would you even police that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how would you even know one who for sure came up with it and said it the first time, and then how would you police who was able to use it and when and in what context? Like, it's just unrealistic to me, because that's just how the vernacular has always been. That's how our English language is. Like, we have periods of time where people say, I can't think of, no homo. Don't nobody even say that shit no more, thankfully. Do they? They don't still say that when they say shit, do they?
Some people do. Some people say pause.
Pause. Yeah.
New York niggas.
Fucking what you call it? Boondocks had a whole episode called Pause. Whoever was the first nigga to say, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had a whole episode surrounding that because it was, you know what I'm saying? So like, it's like, how would you police that? Who said pause first? Who was the first nigga to be like, nigga, pause? That's gay as hell. Like, who? I just don't.
And you know, like I said, I don't even call it. So what do we call sharing then? You know, so is it about giving the person credit?
Well, because the thing is, if it didn't become like, people say a lot of shit that don't become popular, it's all dependent upon if it becomes popular.
Yeah.
Then it's a problem.
And then we start getting to the side of culture where people are really scavengers to try to get some money or some notoriety or something from what they did, because you see people randomly getting famous off of everything these days. Let Ellen see something you do, you know, or become viral somehow.
Do I need to sue Shogun for saying but the way that I do? Did he?
Technically, he only
bought.
Technically, he only typed it.
Well, still.
I said it. So, no. But like I said, I think that this is a part of the culture now. Mm-hmm. And before social media, I mean, clearly.
It was still a part of the culture. It just, again, yeah, it wasn't spread around, but like, again, pause and all of that shit before Facebook.
I mean, our society would say that you the dummy for sharing stuff that you consider intellectual property without taking the appropriate steps to make sure that it can't be stolen and used, because this shit happened in the music industry.
Yeah.
If that same girl who shared that tweet first of them two dudes, whatever they've done, if they was in the industry and they didn't sign the appropriate documentation, they're going to walk in that room the next time and they're going to say, well, this belongs to us now.
Yep.
You didn't do the right shit. We got you.
Yep.
Like, you the silly ass one. Like, don't be looking back at hindsight saying, oh, I said that shit. That's mine. I need something from that. You know what I'm saying? But Lizzo ain't, you know, looking too good character-wise for me. You know?
Why you say that?
Because of the it wasn't Uber Eats.
Oh,
Postmate situation.
Postmate.
The Postmate situation where the girl, she ordered food.
Yeah.
And the girl called her and they get a 15-minute grace period. I mean, they got other orders to do.
Yeah.
You don't answer your phone in 15 minutes, they can leave. So Lizzo tweeted, the Postmates girl stole my food. You know? I know she had them damn missed calls. No, she saw the girl, and then they started sending death threats to the girl.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like that as the inability to process that situation and look at a more diplomatic way of figuring that out and a less accusatory way, you know, made me feel a certain way about her character potentially.
I don't think she thought people were gonna send death threats, because who the fuck y'all really sending death threats over some Postmate shit to
people
a
send
singer?
death threats for everything now.
Shit is
okay?
stupid.
She I know she new in the game, but she don't know how to wield her power, and hopefully she know how now. But then it ain't even about the potential stealing of the meme, and even if she did steal it on purpose, you know, and use it. I mean, she argued down at the beginning that it wasn't, you know, it ain't yours no more, basically. So, you know, these little moments just make me look at a person and start determining how I feel about their character and if they stand up. And right now, she either just deeply unaware of what the world she done stepped in does, because you know, if me and you take some shit we seen in a meme and say it, then it's not likely gonna become popular.
No.
But you know, if me
Not
and
at all.
you, you know, were in the eye of the public and we took that same thing, it means something different than it means now. So maybe she's just unaware, because both of those situations have the potential to mean that she's just unaware of the environment that she is in right now in terms of being a celebrity now.
Cause the songs, that album's like 2 years old. It's popular now, but "Cause I Love You," the songs from that is their old song. We're just now, it just became super popular and everybody loves Lizzo now. Because the thing is, like, what was this when it wasn't popular, when Lizzo hadn't blown up? Because this music has been out a while. So I don't know. What's his next thing? The neighbor, the police.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I don't disagree with nothing that he's saying.
I'll just be a bad neighbor. I'm not going to go and inspect shit, because the thing is, again, for me, we know how this situation turned out, and we know there wasn't anybody in there, but there could have been. And my thing is, if I do go over there and it is some foul shit going on, what am I gonna do then? Like, one, you gonna end up still calling the police, and there's still a chance shit can go wrong, apparently, because the police just out here doing fuck shit.
You also a woman.
Yes.
You're also a woman that don't care about guns and shit.
Yes.
So it's not like, in the best case scenario, I don't even know what you could really do except go back and call somebody. And if you probably won't know none of their phone contacts, and you ain't finna call nobody important in your life
No.
to potentially get fucked up. So at the end of the day, I do think that it's really calling the people is kind of unavoidable. But I agree with Shogun, man. There does need to be something in between that shit.
But it's sad that there
Like,
needs to
where
be
is
something
the
in
non-lethal?
between.
Like, you hear all the time where they have shotgun with bean bags in it and shit.
Well, I work for 911, and working for 911, it's the same dispatcher, at least in the city of Montgomery, that pick up the non-emergency line. When you're a call taker, all of the calls come in, and so you'll know the difference, because it'll let you know if it came in through the non-emergency line or the 911 line. But for me, the way that the way that those calls are even sent out is completely different, because it came from the non-emergency line. I still don't understand why they were skulking around her fucking property and didn't announce themselves, parked down the street. Like, this shit don't make no sense. That was not protocol at all. I had a conversation with my cousin, and she's a magistrate in the city of Huntsville. We all went out, and that was one of the conversations that we had. That is not protocol for anybody's police department at all. When you go do a welfare check, because they was acting like how I would be acting if somebody asked me to go do a well check on somebody. I ain't gonna go directly in and peep around and see what the fuck is going on. You're trained. You're supposed to go, announce who the fuck you are, and handle whatever the situation is, because that's what you've been trained to do. Not skulk around with fucking flashlights and shoot at anything that moves. What the fuck kind of shit is that? Like, the fact that we have to have a buffer in between, and that you can't just directly call the police because you got to be afraid that they're going to come out and fucking kill innocent people, is sad. That we're at that place. It's fucked up. It really is. And like I said, non-emergency call comes in different. It's dispatched differently. And I know this from 2 years of working as I dabbled in the dispatch part. I ain't really like that. I did mostly call taking, but the calls come in differently. They go out differently. There is not a sense of urgency when a non-emergency call, because a lot of times it'll be shit like, when I worked in Montgomery, a lot of old people would call in and be like, there's people driving by with loud music. By the time the police get there, man, they're driving past your house. They're not gonna be there. What the fuck are you calling us for? It would be things like that, but we did sometimes get welfare checks. Somebody would be concerned. They called a non-emergency line, and, you had the police go over there. And I just don't understand how these officers handle it. And I still think the other officer, even though he didn't shoot her, I still think that he should get some kind of something. Cause he ain't handle it no better than the other guy. He just didn't shoot her, but y'all both was skulking around the property and shit. Nobody announced it. Like neither one of y'all followed proper protocol. So while I don't think he need to get a murder charge, or I don't know, because in the civilian world, if you go with somebody to rob somebody's house and one of you shoot somebody, everybody get charged.
It depends on what you tell the people. It depends on if you don't tell nobody. Like if he went straight to work and went to his captain and was like, "This nigga shot somebody," then he good. You know what I'm saying? Like if he, you know, like just think of all the memes of the white people calling the police. Imagine the police calling, being like that with his partner. Hell no, Cap. He shot this girl through the goddamn window. I wasn't with that shit. We were both at the front door. And he was like, "I'm gonna go around to the side." And I ain't want to leave. I ain't just want to let him go. It might be a threat back there. So I followed him, and I look on the ground. I see some frogs or something. I'm like, "Damn, frogs!" Next thing you know, I hear, "Put your hands up, pop!" I look up and I'm like, "Oh hell no!" I knew I should have rolled solo today. I knew good and goddamn well I shouldn't have goddamn had this nigga as my partner. I done lost the bet. Knew he was gonna be with me when he shot some goddamn body. You know, police officers know the motherfucking loose cannons in that
Yeah,
bitch.
they do.
They know the loose cannons. They know the racist motherfuckers. They know the motherfuckers when a riot happened who gonna have their baton out ready to pop some heads. They know. Imagine not wanting to be with them. They know the cop that's most likely to take a bribe. I just imagine that they get to know each other enough to know who will be fucking up.
Like, damn, I got to ride with Johnson today.
Exactly. It's just like any job.
Yeah.
When you go to work, you know where your issues gonna be and who they gonna be with.
True.
You already know, and it's the same thing. It gotta be the same thing for police officers.
I'm sure, but I still think that because if you're gonna do that with civilians, if you're gonna tell these dudes that all go in and rob this house, and one of these motherfuckers decide to go rogue and kill the owner, all of y'all get charges behind that shit because you were present at the time, even if you didn't pull the trigger. So
hold your horses, Red. Hold your horses. We can't even get police officers charged for shit. You trying to get one that didn't even have his gun in his hand charged. Come on now.
I'm just
Take
saying.
this shit slow.
I know. I just
You
neither one of them.
You ain't even letting the foreplay happen. You just trying to dive right in.
Look, nobody between the two of them and all of the training that the two of them got, nobody was like, you know what, we probably should just knock on this fucking door.
I think that's the problem. Me and you out here saying all the training. But what training might be them sitting in a room for 8 hours looking at memes? That's what it seems like right now.
That's what it seems
hey,
like.
Everybody,
That's
Google
not
police
what it
memes and just look through all of those and see how the world feels about you. And then we're going to go shoot stuff. What the fuck does training consist of? Like, what kind of assessment system do they have to determine if a police officer is psychologically even fit? What kind of test can we have to determine how racist somebody is? You know, when you put in an application at Walmart or Publix or Target and it got 200 questions on it, it ain't nothing but 10 questions.
They
just ask all them 10 questions 10 whole different ways.
Yeah.
Why don't they got a test like that for racism? You would think that they would have some kind of measure where they could trick your ass into proving that you racist through a test or a measure or something like that. Not only racism, but sexism and all the isms. Hell, ageism, weightism, all the isms.
You know something interesting? So I was out with my cousin and 3 of her friends that are males that are police officers. And it was very interesting. So we went to a haunted house with them. And my cousin was wanting them to bring their badges, because if you were a first responder, you got a discount on the tickets. They didn't, because one of them was like, I don't want people to know that I'm a police officer. Like, I don't want people to know or assume some shit from me being a police officer, me having my badge with me. So neither one, all 3 of them, nobody brought their badge with them. Nobody had their gun on them. Like,
hell, if I was a police officer by this point, I would have been quit. I wouldn't even be no damn police officer, let alone if I was still a police officer bringing my badge so people know. Hell no. All the white people gonna think I'm their friend and all the black people gonna think I'm just a coon. Why the hell would I put myself through that shit?
She just wanted the discount, and she was like, "I told you guys to bring your badges." And all of them were just kind of like, "We ain't do that shit." But one explained and was like, "I don't want people to know." Like, but there's a difference because my cousin dated a police officer. This motherfucker had his gun and his badge with him everywhere. Okay, he wanted people to know he's a police officer. It made him feel good, I guess, because we went to motherfucking Tennessee. This ain't even your jurisdiction, my nigga. Why do you had his gun and his fucking badge on his belt the whole time we was with him? We're in Tennessee. What the fuck is wrong with you? But because that's very much a part of his.
Yeah, I imagine that some people's trauma who become police officers lead them to believe that it's an honorable position and they don't look at it any other way. And I imagine some people just look at it as a shield of protection.
Yeah.
To where if you have that on you, a police officer going to look at you different if you get engaged by a police officer, even especially if you're a black police officer and you are out here in civilian world, having that shit is going to be a layer of protection. Not in every time, because there have been police officers that were black that were off duty killed by white police officers.
My mom was very annoyed. One, we felt like he one of them officers who like he you know that kid that might have been, you know, kind of like the picked on kid and shit. Then they get a little sense of power and they don't know what the fuck to do with themselves. He was more kind of that person. So my mom was annoyed with him doing that because she was like, don't nobody give a shit to you police officer. Like, that don't make him a big man. Like, she was so annoyed that because he had it on with him everywhere we went. And my uncle's a detective, never does that. He never does that. Never has his shit on him. If he does, he may have like the little wallet one they have, but like you would not know my uncle was a detective at work for the police at all when we on vacation and shit. He don't do that. He's never done that. Even when because he started out obviously as like a beat cop doing tickets and shit, traffic cop. He's never have I ever been out with my uncle and he had his badge and his gun on him. He just don't do it. He just don't. But he's very confident in who he is. And so, I mean, it ain't that. I don't even think it's that he don't want people to know like these guys because these guys were a little younger. I think he just don't give a fuck. Like, I ain't at work. I think that's his attitude about it. Like, I ain't on the clock. Fuck, I have all this shit on for.
And what would you potentially use your gun for off duty?
I don't know why didn't we ain't like him anyway. So I am a bit biased because I never liked him. So keep that in mind as I'm speaking on him. But he had to have it where it was visible. He wanted you to see it. He wanted you to know, as he walked around fucking Tennessee that he was a police officer in Alabama. Because again, you ain't got no jurisdiction up here, nigga. Nobody cares that you're a police, or we're not impressed. We still don't like you. So
I'm sure he don't care as long as he got his gun and his badge on the side.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't give a damn if y'all like me or not. I'm a police officer.
I don't think he did. So I don't know. But it was just very interesting to hang out. There was 3 black police officers, and just to hang out with them in just a regular setting was interesting. And that was just one of the things that I noticed. We were because we went out to eat first, and you know what? I wasn't even gonna say nothing about this. But he said something about it, so now I feel like I can say something about this. I'm sorry, Shogun. Shogun, he didn't come with us to dinner, so he missed that part of the conversation, but he did know that they were police officers. I let him know that. But we went through the haunted house, and this nigga fell. Hard. Not because he was scared. That's what made it more funny to me, is the haunted house wasn't even scary. He just tripped over something.
Yeah.
We gave him the benefit of the doubt. This was a haunted house where people could touch you. We didn't know that. Or I didn't know that. Because if I had known that, I wouldn't have went. I don't like people touching me. And I definitely don't like touching. I really feel like white people are just so enthralled by a lot of the things about black folks, even if they don't like black folks. And I say that because me and my cousin have a very similar texture of hair, and it was humid, so like we both had like these big curly ass fros. And when I tell you that both times that we went through, because it was two different attractions, hands in our hair, both of us, to the point where even Shogun was like, "Why the fuck are they touching your hair so much?" Like, I don't know. One of them asked, and Shogun was like, "Yeah." One of them, he grabbed my hat and he was like, "Is that a wig?" And I'm just like,
Somebody
Man.
grabbed your hand and said, "Is that a wig?"
asked if it was a wig.
They weren't supposed to be like ghosts or nothing.
They were supposed to be, but you know they talk to you. They were supposed to be like,
They have like regular conversations.
they say regular shit. Like, yeah. I don't know if he was still in character, but he asked me if it
I
was
would have
a
been
wig.
saying some nasty ass shit.
Well,
I would have touched you in your hand and said I was just digging cheese. Hope you like boogers in your hair.
I really fucking hate. That's why they would never hire you.
No, I'm a good ass interviewer. They would always hire me. I just do what the fuck I want to do after that.
Somebody gonna swing on your ass. They, like I said, we didn't know they could touch you, and they had very loud music playing. So like normally they'll give you the rules before you go in. They tell you not to touch the actors and all of that shit. Apparently they told us that they could touch us, but we didn't hear it. So the first time we went through, everybody came out and was like, "What the fuck was that? Why was they touching us?" When we went through the second attraction, we could hear better and heard the guy say that it was very likely that you would be touched. But we still ain't supposed to touch them. I don't know where the fuck your hands and shit have been. Don't be putting your hands in my hair. In my hair? No. What the fuck is going on? It was just so random. But they were doing it to my cousin too. Because we were like right behind each other. So
the last part of the conversation is last thing y'all need to watch The Watchmen. And I'm going to start The Watchmen. I caught up on the Titans. So I'm going to start The Watchmen. But what I do know about The Watchmen already is one episode is about the Tulsa riots, which we need to stop calling it Tulsa riots and start calling it the Tulsa Massacre, which was Black Wall Street, if you didn't know. If you're listening to this podcast and you didn't know about Black Wall Street and the massacre that happened where this whole black self-sufficient community that had their own schools, hospitals, doctors, everything that was black run was pretty much destroyed by the white community. They ran all the black people out of the city, killed a whole bunch of them. It was crazy. But I wanted to give y'all some other stuff to go and research because the period in the late 1800s, for political reasons, black people were just out here being murdered for political purposes. So if y'all are interested in knowing the history of how black people have just been like murdered, one, how black people have been murdered, two, how the government went to war with the KKK, three, how the KKK pretty much overruled the Constitution in order to keep black people from voting, go look some of this stuff up. Go look up the militia wars of 1868 through 1869. Go look up the Camilla, Camilla massacre. Go look up the White League. Go look up the Third Enforcement Act. And go look up the Battle of Liberty Place. If you were shy of understanding, and the Kirk Holden War of 1870. If you are shy of understanding how a whole community, i.e. Black Wall Street, could be destroyed like that by white people, just go research some of that shit. That shit was just par for the course of America at the time. And that shit wasn't long ago in the scheme of history. That being said, that was it for the letter.
All right. Well, so we're 2 letters in. So
I don't think we're gonna get the letter from.
yeah, it's not looking like we're gonna
Yeah, I
get
think
it.
we're gonna have to do that next week.
So we're 2 letters in. So 4th letter gets a I don't want to say a prize. They get a goodie bag,
They get something
something.
from me.
So if you would like to for that to be possibly you have a question, you have some comment, you have a situation you want us to discuss, you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartist@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Conversation Con Artists, and hit us up that way, and we will get right into it.
I'm going, since you talked about the haunted house and put Shogun on blast like that, I'm going to bring up the other haunted house where if you've been on Facebook and social media enough, there is a haunted house that'll pay you $20,000 to finish it.
So we looked into that.
I'm about to read some of the most horrific parts of the 40-page waiver.
Jesus, there's a 40-page waiver that you have to sign in order to go into this haunted house.
So how much did you look into that?
So when we were out to dinner, we looked at because I was trying to see like what in the fuck do they do to you that would be horrible enough for them to offer $20,000 if you can complete it and have a 40-page waiver. A lot of it is psychological. A lot of what the haunted house is. It's not a lot of like people jumping out and boo. It's a lot of psychological shit. Is why.
Let me listen. You're a fool if you do this shit.
You really are.
Let me read this shit. Okay. Participant understands and agrees that the characters they come in contact with during the tour are just actors and are there to provide a performance for participant and other guests and actually is not reality. Reasonable. Participant fully understands that by signing this waiver, they are giving this company permission to keep nothing off the table except sexual or inappropriate situations. Everything else imaginable can and will happen inside of MM. It's called MM. You are aware of this and are giving full permission for any action that may happen inside of MM. Participant agrees to and has full knowledge that if selected to visit the barber, participant may leave MM completely bald, including eyebrows.
What the fuck?
That'll put you out already.
Hell yeah.
Participant agrees and acknowledges that mousetraps are used within the tour, which may result in bruising, cutting, or breakage of fingers. Participant agrees that if selected, they could be buried alive under 12 feet of dirt and rock, to which they will have a limited amount of air and they will have to figure out how to escape, and they could possibly breathe in a significant amount of dust, dirt, or foreign objects that may cause death if participant does not breathe properly or hold their breath at the right time.
What?
Participant agrees to partake, if selected to participate, in a height stunt that involves walking a plank 25 feet above ground without a safety net. Participant agrees that if selected, they will come in contact with a variety of live poisonous animals. It is the participant's responsibility not to panic or agitate the animals. If participant is bitten, it is because the participant made a sudden movement within a confined, secured environment. Participant agrees and acknowledges that they are responsible, whether they quit an activity or not, for bringing all the equipment and materials back to the van.
What?
This skips a little bit. Participant understands that they may incur injuries from falling props in the event that they become unstable during the tour. Participant fully understands and agrees that they may come in contact with carbon monoxide poisoning with regard to use of artificial fog. Participant fully understands and agrees that once participant enters MM, there is no quitting unless serious physical or psychological injury is present. Participant fully understands that injuries may occur during their tour of MM, which may include but not limited to head, neck, and back injuries, death, stroke, traumatic brain injury, brain aneurysm, cerebral or retinal hemorrhage, subdural hematomas, loss of consciousness, whiplash, harmful heart reactions, nausea, headache, dizziness, lacerations, broken or sprained bones, torn ligaments, bleeding wounds, scrapes and or cuts, heat stroke or drowning, and does not hold MM responsible.
What the entire fuck? So basically, they can do whatever they want to you.
Participant fully understands and agrees that being scared, having a panic attack, etc. does not count as serious injury. Participant fully understands and agrees that their tour may include the use of hypodermic needles, zappers, tasers, or dog shot collars. Participant fully understands and agrees that they may be crushed in a pit by various objects. This shit's so stupid. Participant fully understands and agrees that various fluids such as food coloring, grease, theatrical blood, or other liquids may be placed in the participant's mouth.
Wait a minute.
It is the participant's responsibility not to swallow these liquids. Participant fully understands and agrees that they may be fish hooked, which may inadvertently cause rippage to the mouth area.
What?
Participant fully understands and agrees that they may be fish hooked. Oh, just right there. Participant fully understands and agrees that they may divulge They must divulge all information regarding allergies. Participant fully understands and agrees that they must divulge all information regarding dentures, contacts, pacemakers, piercing, and all piercings must be removed to prevent damage to the participant. They fully understand and agree that if they are selected to visit the dentist, that they may have a tooth extracted without Novocaine and will not hold MM liable. Participant fully understands and agrees that their teeth may be accidentally chipped, broken, or lost and will not hold MM responsible or liable. They fully understand and agree that it's possible that joints, i.e. jaw, shoulder, elbow, wrist, knee, hips, may be accidentally dislocated and the participant will not hold MM responsible. Participant fully understands and agrees that they will be participating in various medieval torture devices such as knife throwing while strapped to a spinning wheel, shackles, chains, gibbet cage, stocks, the rack, etc. Participant fully understands and agrees that they may be bruised by paintballs. They agree that MK Ultra, mind control, may be used. They understand that water torture may be used. I mean, it keeps going. It keeps going. I mean, I'm not going to keep reading.
Me and my cousin said we think that it's designed to make nobody want to sign up for it, so they never have to give out the $20,000. Because who the fuck would sign that waiver and say, yes, you can do all of those things to me?
I mean, the reality is, if the people sign up for this and it looked like they finna make it, it looked like they can just drop some big shit on their ass and they died and they signed that shit away and they ain't got no responsibilities. Like, if we go by the corporate standard, they ain't paying that $20,000 out. Okay, they would kill somebody before they pay that $20,000 out,
and they can legally
like,
do it because
got bit by a copperhead. I mean, he shouldn't have moved. You know, or he didn't get out of the damn 12-foot box of dirt and rock fast enough. He had enough time. Guess he didn't control his breathing well enough. But this is the form he signed this one. So it makes me wonder, how much can you really write into a contract that keeps a company or a person from being liable from the information?
Because it seems like it's like assisted suicide. If you wanted to die, just go sign up for this shit and move the wrong way, and that'll be it. And they not liable for it.
Imagine winning $20,000 and then leaving this bitch with a $40,000 hospital bill. You done got fish hooked and you goddamn poison extraction from whatever animal creature you came to. The concussion you had because some fucking light fell on your damn head from this shit. They done put some damn poison in your mouth and you swallowed it by accident.
The dental work you gotta have because they knocked your teeth out.
Yeah, your tooth gone. Like, imagine getting out of this bitch and you get $20,000, but you gotta pay all of your fucking fines and dental bills and shit. Hell no. So when I read that story, I was like, what could they possibly be doing? And then I read this shit and I was like, who the fuck would do this? Even if they don't do all this, even if they pick one of them hoes and do it. I don't want to do that. They got a whole bunch of shit.
That's worse than Fear Factor. At least Fear Factor is like, you know, it was just bugs and shit. That shit there? No.
Elk penis.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle. Chappelle Show.
But
yeah.
look, you listen, y'all. The moral of the story is, if it's too good to be true, then it is. That's just how it works. The only thing that ain't too good to be true is people pricing shit on Facebook Marketplace. They just don't know what they doing sometimes. Pawn shops too. So if it's too good to be true in a pawn shop or a place, then it's all right. Now, saying that, I bought a flash for my camera from a pawn shop. And when I bought it, the whole didn't work. This was about 1.5 years ago.
Okay.
I just randomly pulled it out and was like, let me see. And it worked now. I was like, what the hell? What the It confused the shit out of me because I don't know why hell it wasn't working before, but it working now. But that's that too. And it was $25. We talking about a $275 flash. Like, they thought it was fucked up too. But, you know, my hope, you know what I'm saying, made me say, you know, man, I was thinking I could buy it and send it in to get it fixed, but then I didn't realize they no longer repair them when I got it. So it worked now. I'm like, oh shit, that bitch worked. So if it's too good to be true, it usually is, unless it's somebody pricing something on Facebook Market for a ridiculously good price, or if it's something you get from a pawn shop that turned out to be what it is for the discount that you get. Otherwise, ain't nobody giving you $20,000 to complete shit except your job, and that's over the course of a year. If you got a minimum wage job.
Hell no. Massachusetts proposes bill to make using the B word illegal with possible jail time. You know how much
Booty
I say.
hole?
Why would booty hole be the word that they're gonna give? First of all,
Booty hole worse than bitch.
how many people do you think walking around saying booty hole regularly? That what they would need to
Tiffany
ban
Haddish?
it. Bitch is the word.
Ain't a bitch the formal name for a female dog?
It is.
So I wonder what the context of it. Like, if you say it references a female dog and a police officer hear you.
Okay, so this is what it says. Democratic House Representative Daniel Hunt has officially proposed a bill that, if approved, will make using the B word punishable by a fine and even possible jail time. Hunt decided to push for the law when one of his constituents complained about hearing the word and how uncomfortable it made them feel. The bill states, a person who uses the word bitch directed at another person to accost, annoy, degrade, or demean the other person shall be considered to be a disorderly person. A violation of this subsection may be reported by the person to whom the offensive language was directed at, or by any witness to such an incident. Additionally, there will be a penalty of $150 for the first usage of bitch in public, and any subsequent use will garner a $200 fine. There is also the possibility that those caught using the word could spend up to 6 months in jail. Do you know how much I say bitch? I would be in jail all the time. Why is that?
But you don't use it towards nobody. You wouldn't break the law. You got to be using it against some. You got to be saying it to somebody.
Yeah, I
annoy.
don't usually
You don't
go
call
up to people and be like, bitch. Yeah, I don't.
But I think this legislation is not good. It's like, it don't take into consideration people who use it as a term of endearment.
Because there are women that are
Bitch,
like, that's
I
my
gotta
bitch.
talk to you. Call me when you get off.
Well, but it says to annoy. Like, it was specific that it has to be offensive. So, like,
I don't know. I feel
to
like
accost, annoy, degrade, or demean.
it's just new criteria for the police to say you did something that's gonna get your ass shot.
But why? Like, they ain't even outlawed white people calling black folks nigger with the hard ER. But you want to get upset because people saying bitch? Like,
Because white people got an excuse for that, man. The excuse is not a lot of people do it. They're like, well, that's not everyone. That's only not everyone says that. That's only that small group that says that. Oh, okay, well.
Well, make it illegal for that small group. I ain't never seen no proposed legislation to outlaw that shit. The fuck? But you gonna outlaw bitch? Oh, please. Whatever. I have just never been like people who get upset about the bitch being used or referring to people, even if you're not talking directly to them as bitches. Bitch, some people are bitches. Like, I don't understand. That has never been an offensive thing to me. If I hear a man talking about a situation and he's referring to somebody as a bitch, if she was being a bitch, I don't care. If he was being a bitch, I don't care. It doesn't bother me because sometimes people are bitches. That's just what it is. And the thing is, bitch is the word for a female dog. So a lot of women use that as it's degrading to women. Why does it have to be a bad thing to be a bitch? Because it's a female dog. Being a dog ain't a good thing either. When women call niggas dogs, it's not good. A nigga that's a dog ass nigga is not a good person. Dog is not used to reference good people. Like if somebody's calling you a dog, they calling it's something bad in general. So bitch being a bad word to me isn't offensive to me as a woman because we call niggas dogs. Because there's a lot of dog ass niggas out here doing dog ass shit like pastors going down on his congregants that ain't his fucking wife. That's a dog ass nigga.
I got a question.
I'm scared.
What's your favorite animal?
Dog.
Makes sense.
What makes sense? What makes sense?
Makes sense for you to be talking so bad about dog ass niggas and you love dogs.
Yeah, I do. But But that's what I'm saying. A dog, the actual dog. I'm just saying that we use that as a derogatory term for men. Women who say, well, why does bitch have to be a bad thing because it's a female dog? Being a dog in general, as it pertains to saying it about a human, is not a good thing, whether it's a female dog
I'm
or
just
not.
saying, let a woman see a puppy. Oh, it's so cute. Like how a woman deal with a puppy is how they deal with an ain't shit nigga at the beginning of the relationship. When that motherfucker become a grown ass dog and shitting on the floor, they start looking at the shit different. You ain't nothing. When you was a puppy, shit was good.
Yeah.
Now you a grown ass, you shitting on the floor, you run away off the leash. I don't know where you been. Come back.
Remy still late, and I know you said this is gonna happen. And the first time it happened, I was like, "God damn, on point." I used to let him lay on my chest when he was a puppy because he was itty bitty and he was so cute, and he would go to sleep, and it was the most adorable thing because he had puppy breath. And so while he was sleeping, he would be putting his little puppy breath in my face. This nigga's 60 pounds now doing that same shit with dog breath. It is.
Yeah.
It ain't cute, okay? And he heavy, his breath stinks, and it's annoying now.
Trying to warn you.
But now he wants to do it all the time because he used to do it when he was a puppy, and he doesn't understand the difference. But in my mind, I'm like, bitch, you ain't cute no. Like, you heavy. He was like 8 pounds or some shit when I was letting him do that. And again, he had puppy breath, which puppy breath is very sweet because they don't have the bacteria and shit in their mouth yet. And it was adorable. Now he breathing dog food and balls because he don't have balls, penis because he licks his penis. He breathing all kind of shit in my face.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Booty hole.
Yeah. Well,
His and Kingston's probably.
no, Kingston don't play that shit.
I probably get a secret lick every now and then.
Kingston don't like for him to touch him at all. You know Kingston's a cat, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, damn it, on point. The first time he did that shit and I was laying there uncomfortable, I was just like, this motherfucker.
Look.
It was hard not to. He was such a cute little. I have a picture of him laying on you. When you kept him that one time, you sent me a picture of him sleep on you.
One moment out of a whole time he stayed here. Don't be taking that moment and isolating
I'm
that
just
moment
saying,
to why.
you let him go to sleep on you. He was cute.
You gotta do that shit sparingly. You gotta do it sparingly enough that they know that this ain't common. You know, what you did was that shit every day, and it became the norm. So now the only way you can get him out of it is the same thing that's gonna get you arrested. Beat his ass. You gotta beat his ass to get a dog out of that shit. Now, just saying no ain't enough.
I just
You don't understand.
I just shove him off of me. Like, go lay on the couch, lay on the floor, lay somewhere that ain't me.
And then they don't understand because you push them off of you and they be like, okay, she ain't happy with this for 60 seconds. Wait till this 60 seconds is up. I'm going to get right back. Like, they don't know that, like, don't do this for a period of time. They don't know that.
They don't know.
So-
Because he crawled right back up there or I'll be asleep. And he moving right. He doesn't sleep in my bed for this exact reason. He sleep in his crate. But like on the couch, if I fall asleep, he'll sometimes be like on the other end of the couch sleep. Fine, I'm asleep. He sleep cool. I'll just be asleep and just feel him flop. Because he'll like crawl up and won't touch me. He have his paws on the outside and then just flop down. And I can't breathe now. I'm asleep. You know how scary that is to wake up with just a weight on your chest? That nigga make me so sick when he do that shit. I be so fucking mad. Like, nigga.
The person that's going to have the most trouble with this is whoever your future boo going to be. Because when you and him laid up on the couch, it's either going to be him trying to jump on both of y'all or
Him trying to get at
a
the
competition.
dude.
Now, you did this, and I tried to help.
He was adorable. He was the itty little thing with puppy breath. I didn't even know how big he was gonna get.
Well,
You told me he was gonna get big
So
too.
was all the niggas that did you wrong at the beginning. Okay, they was the same shit at the beginning, but you know what? Now you know how you feel about them. That's how you feel about Remy laying down and plopping on your ass and
my
you can't
God,
breathe.
That nigga's so heavy. Oh, it's so heavy.
Long game. Tampons.
Okay.
I don't know anything about tampons.
There's not much to know.
I was sent to the. I mean, yes, it is. Yes,
Okay.
it is. I was sent to the store to buy tampons, and some had a fucking S on them, some had a fucking R on them, some had an
Yeah.
S and a fucking R on them.
It's about the absorbency of the tampon.
I don't have to know those things. We ain't got to put tampons in our pee holes. You know, we don't have a hole big enough naturally
But
for the go. Now, don't get me wrong, you can make a hole that big.
it's
A side note.
fairly simple, I think.
Side note. I went into Love Stuff recently.
Okay.
Have you ever been to Love Stuff?
I have.
Love Stuff is different. Did you know that? And I'm sure you know this. Anybody listening? It is one. Love Stuff is a sex toy store.
Yeah, but they're actually, what do they call? What's the word for it? A
I'm
novelty store.
Because it's illegal to sell sex toys in Alabama. So when you walk in there, they point you to this big sign that says everything here is for educational purposes, scientific research, and all the things that indicate that these are not to use to put inside of a human.
Yeah, they're called novelty stores.
Yeah. That's even though they have so I said that we don't have a hole in which things go in naturally. And it was this thing that I saw. It was like a mega gaper. That is something that they use to you insert it into the anal cavity and then you pump it and it just spread.
Well, I know fisting is the thing, so is it equivalent to that or worse?
I guess it's preparing your booty hole for whatever size, whatever you're about to put in it, whether it be a fist or whatever.
Jesus Christ.
Another thing they had that I didn't know they had is they have hollow strap-ons. A hollow strap-on is what a man put over his meat to enhance the size of his meat and have sex with his woman.
But can you feel anything if you got plastic
It
over
has
your
a
penis?
vibrating tip. It has a vibrating tip. So you feel the vibration on the tip of your meat.
Okay. What does this have to do with tampons?
Listen, all I was going to say is, listen, gentlemen, meat positivity. If you didn't know that there was an option for short meats to become long meats, it's out there, okay? So in the event that you're not meat positive enough to carry your own meat with your lady, you got options, bro.
I'm so sick of y'all.
Go find that hollow strap on. Clearly don't let your friends know you're doing this. And you're going to have to gauge a little bit with your woman to see if she's going to be okay with it. Don't not tell your woman and then just show up with a hollow strap on. That's not going to turn out well for you. You're going to lose your relationship. Okay? You're going to have to fish around. So I suggest you go into your local sex shop, look around a little bit, gauge and see where your woman is at, and then figure out where you at with your meat positivity. If you need some AIDS, I'm not against AIDS. I'm 100% advocate for what's going to help you be as positive about your meat as you can be. Build your relationship.
I hate you.
Anyway, I don't use tampons, so I don't know what any of that means, okay? I don't know the difference between pads, and I don't know the difference between the ones you insert. I don't know the difference between discs. I don't know the difference between none of this stuff. I
Pads
don't
feel
have
like
to.
diapers, which is why a lot of women don't like to wear them. It feels like you have a diaper on all day, whereas the tampon feels, because it's inserted, your underwear feel the same.
What about like one of them cup things?
Those are because, so I don't know. Where are you going with the tampon story first? Let me see. Was there like some issue, illness?
No.
Okay. So the cup, so tampons, there's something called toxic shock syndrome that you can get if you have it in for too long or you have the absorbency too high. There's something about the way it connects with your body. Anyway, so the cups are supposed to be more natural, and they're supposed to be more like environment friendly because it's just a reusable cup as opposed to like a tampon that you throw on away with the plastic applicators and all of that shit. That's what the cup is.
Okay. So Always has always had a symbol on their tampons
I did hear about
for
this.
women. It's the circle with the little plus sign up under it. That means women. And they have removed that from their products due to being more inclusive.
Here's what doesn't make fucking sense about that. Okay, I did see this shit. I didn't know what you were talking about at first. I did see this. Here's what don't make sense, and here's why this was unnecessary. Even if you are a transgender woman, at no point would there ever be a opportunity or a reason for you to use a goddamn tampon.
But people zero in on transgender women, but transgender men still have cycles. Like transgender men still use.
But they're not gonna care. I feel like removing the female symbol is more for the dysphoria, maybe, because like a transgender man don't think of himself as a woman anyway.
I think everybody's missing out on the crowd that I believe that this move was made for.
Which was transgender men.
No. I don't think it's for transgender men or transgender women. I think it's for people who identify as non-binary. I think it's women who don't like those traditional attributions of gender to them, who are women biologically, who prefer to be referred to as they or them, who don't like just being regarded as a woman.
The fact that you're buying a tampon is female specific. I don't give a fuck. Like, you can take the little symbol off, but it's female specific. You don't even know about anything dealing with tampons because as a man, you've never had to interact with them at all. So the fact that there's something female about doing it anyway. They can take the symbol off if it makes you feel better to not see that shit. But having to purchase tampons, pads, the cup, whatever, it's female specific because it is a biological process that females go through. That, I mean, that's one of those things that's not going to be non-binary, non-gender specific. It is. It just is. Like, you can't erase that. You can take the symbol off. It makes you feel better to not have to see it. But the fact of the matter is, the reason why you don't know about tampons is because you're a man and you've never had to use them, other than maybe somebody sending you to potentially buy some. But as a woman or as of a person with that female process that occurs monthly, you have to go buy tampons. I don't understand the point of taking the fucking symbol off. It still is what it is.
I'm okay with it.
At the end of the day, like, it doesn't it just seemed unnecessary. Like, I
mean, what is necessary and what isn't unnecessary? Now, I don't think we've found out where the line is between what we do with this new knowledge in our society. Okay, we've been living in a binary ass society where we force people to fit in man, woman, black, white, this, that. This is what we got. And so now that people are branching out and saying that, well, my love and my life and my existence don't exist in those frames that y'all have tried to force us in, we're not at a point where we know what to do with all of these new shits. But I don't have a problem with them doing something that don't harm nobody else. Most of the women that you read these posts, like my cousin went off about it, and in the beginning of her post, she said she didn't even have a clue it was on there. So I'm like, then what the fuck is the big deal to you?
I guess it's just the fact that it just seemed like, I think a lot of cisgender women feel like it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like how white people don't really like all of this inclusive culture of other cultures, and because it threatens their.
Of course. Even when you're talking about race and white people, fairness for somebody who has always had something just means you lose shit. That's all it means.
But being a woman, and I guess being a woman is different from being white in that we ain't even really winning shit because we women. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually you at a deficit because you're a woman, especially if you're a black woman. Like, being a woman already in society is like a lower thing.
I think a lot of women are going to regard it as losing their identity as a woman. I mean, because they're taking everything away that allows us to say we're women. They are saying that trans women and women are the same. That is taking away what makes us women. Like that's what their argument is.
But
in a lot of cases.
I don't believe that trans women and women are the same thing. It's not the same thing.
But what I'm saying is when trans women say that, then women have to defend why they are different and how you don't fit in this same category. So what I'm saying is, just like white people would say that this is attack on white identity, women will say this is attack on womanhood. Because they're trying to take, and they're trying to like blend into an identity that we believe is distinct. You want it to be the same, but it's distinct. So that's where I'm saying it looks similar to that.
I mean, the thing about it is, I was one of the people who also didn't know that it was on there. But here's the thing, and this is what I'm saying about I don't understand why they did it. If you are a transgender man who looks like a man, when you go through the line, you're still purchasing tampons. So either people are gonna know that you you know what I'm saying, like wonder about that, or they're gonna think you buying it for your girl or whatever. But tampons are still going to be identified as something that women use. You can take the symbol off. It doesn't matter because of the whole reason why they exist, because it is a female process that it was created to help with. It don't matter if they take the sign off or not. I don't really see why that's something that was wanted, needed, why there was something that people had an issue with, or that felt like it was an attack on them being non-binary or whatever the fuck. It don't change what it is. You cannot put the symbol on there, but it's still gonna be women or people that have that female process every month that's gonna be purchasing this shit and using it. Period. That's just what it is. It don't change it because you take a symbol off of it.
I mean, I don't think that this dialogue has ever been about them not wanting people to know that they're women and trying to hide things. That women clearly, if you use a tampon and I see you buying them, I know what that's for.
Yes.
But I think that just like with every oppressed group, a lot of it is just about how we allow the people who ain't a part of these groups to have the conversation and have the dialogue. And it might have been awareness. It might have not even been because I've yet to see a feed where it's these whole groups coming for always. So we don't know if it's these groups coming for it or if always is just saying, you know, is this symbol really necessary? You know, I mean, we've put it on there. We gonna search the origins of why we put it on there. I mean, it's not something necessary. It's not something that's important to the identity of the company. Let's remove it. It's no big deal. But that's what I hope is happening.
But why does it have to be news then? Just take it off. Nobody would have noticed.
It may not be news. I don't really know how widespread this is. This might be an isolated story I done found.
I know it. I mean, I'm not the.
I mean, I don't know if it's on national news or I don't know how far this is gone.
I think it was a big story.
But I just don't think it's that big of a deal, man. If it's something that somebody want to do that don't hurt you, then what's the problem? Especially if you didn't even know what. Because a lot of the comments I done read was from angry women who didn't even know.
It was on CNN. It's what everybody knew about it. I thought that was the case. Yeah. They could have just took it off and not said shit because people didn't know that it was
but we know that's where our society is now. We know our society is in a place where we're trying to figure out what all of these split identities are going to look like. And you know what? The reality is the world ain't black and white. It's gray. I ain't never been fond of this binary existence we done had with every damn thing that exists. I'm okay with all these people coming out and saying, you know, this is how I love. Like, imagine somebody who was a sapiosexual, which, you know, it's a bunch of names for all this stuff, who just really found themselves attracted to that intelligence, or pansexual who is attracted to a personality regardless of the sex, but them growing up in a society that told you, you know, no, the only people that you can like their personality is the person of the opposite sex of you. That's it. So imagine, so we breaking out of them molds now.
But even when you you had gay that was okay and bisexual that was more accepted. We still, I feel like we just keep going with these creations of these different things. Like there's so many labels for such little nuanced things. I feel like that it's like a teeny little percent of the society that is in that box, but we got to create a word for it. I don't think it was completely black and white, and that's why now it was just, you know, straight and gay. I just feel like everybody needs to have their own little label now.
But I guess where the way I see that is that they're not labels because they're not being applied by people outside of the individual. The individual is saying that this is what I am.
You can still label yourself as something.
I mean, when I hear of label, I mean, especially when we're talking about the mental health field, we talking about what other people write down about you, and then they apply that to you. So I think, to me, there's a difference between when society does that, like what we're going to talk about with the tank thing, versus when you do it yourself. So we read through all of them sexualities.
Yes.
There is a term.
There's probably more now, though, is what I'm saying. Even since we did that, there's been creations of more.
But what I'm saying is, are you saying that if a person has a particular way of existing and there is not a word to identify what they exist, are you saying that they should just pick one that exists that they should fit in? Or can they call themselves what they believe that specific thing is? I'm just saying.
I don't think of myself in labels, I guess is what I don't walk around and think straight. I'm a straight, like I don't understand why it has to have a name, or you have to put a label to it, or you have to, like, because when you live in your everyday life, you're not thinking about those things. So like having to create all of these slots just for you at some point to be able to say I'm this thing that now has a word, I don't understand. And again, like I said, and we didn't even do that long ago. There's been creations of even more labels and flags. And it's like everything has its own little individual thing, no matter how nuanced it might be.
Well, to me, the underlying implication is like, just choose the ones we got for you and then just be okay with that. And I don't like that.
What happens when it's 1,000 different things, though? You got to go through
goddamn 3,000 different sects of Christianity. Hell, like, I mean, we do that everywhere. I mean, it's gonna split off. Like, and not all of it is just me walking around saying I'm a cis male. Some of it is just,
I don't even identify myself as a cis female.
Well, what I'm saying is, because of, I mean, when you step in a certain environment, it's gonna be important to have that dialogue.
What dialogue?
It's gonna be important to know that you are a straight cis female.
Where?
If you then you go to the damn then you go to a conference where the woman was talking about trans inclusion and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
in Montgomery that time. Like,
was it? Yeah, it was somewhere. I
mean, you went somewhere and she had some dissenting opinions about what you thought and things of that nature. But it's not like you're in a field where you guaranteed to not be in a room where it's trans individuals and things of that nature. On
a case by case basis. If somebody comes to my office, what they identify is, of course it doesn't matter. I'm just saying it becomes overwhelming with having to try to know what all these different things is that people identify. You have all of these terms that come out and it's just like, okay, so that's what you have a word for it now. It doesn't change anything that you've been doing, how you're going to live your life, how you're going to live your life moving forward. Most people are not even going to know what it is. You said sapiosexual. I guarantee you there are people listening to us right now has no fucking idea what that means, or half of those ones that we went through. Most people don't even know those labels except for the people who use the labels for themselves.
Well, there are groups that identify with all these things, and most of us ain't gonna know it because we just sheep that fit into the bullshit ass binary ass.
Or you're not
gonna
run into it's not enough people that identify that way that you would even interact with somebody that way. But
that's to me why it's not that big of a deal to allow a motherfucker to have it. It's like you live your life completely void of people having that shit, and it ain't applying to you, and you don't say that shit about yourself, and the people you meet don't say that shit about themselves. But somebody come up and say I'm a pansexual, and motherfuckers out here be like, oh, motherfuckers always want to call themselves for shit. Like, if it don't apply to you, it just don't apply to you.
Well, but
if a motherfucker want to identify with a group because, I don't know, one of them things we read is they they only love under certain contexts. Like they don't like if they know this about themselves and they want to find some people to identify that have that same thing, why not?
But it's the same thing with meat eaters, vegans, vegetarians. You have vegans and vegetarians that are cool. Cole don't really talk about it. He just is what he is. Then you have other people that are like, how dare you eat meat, or I can't believe you eat meat, or all they want to talk about is being vegan. And then you have meat people that eat meat that talk shit about vegans for being vegan and vegetarian, even though that has what they eat has nothing to do with you at all. Doesn't matter. But people still get upset about it. That's always been the case. Like, I don't know. It just becomes overwhelming. And I maybe if I identified as one of these outlier groups, it would make a difference. How is it different?
It's different because a person who is a vegetarian or a vegan and I eat meat, then I somehow worse because I'm eating flesh and animals are murdered because like they connect with them, what they do versus what I do.
But not all of them do. But that's the thing. There's this divide between those two because people get irritated when they hear that somebody's vegetarian or vegan because they assume that they're those annoying people who look down on them. But
where does that exist in pansexuals and all them other sexuals? Like, where does that, like, there is no part of your relationship that will look down on them because of how they choose, and there's no, like, it's no connection. You know what I'm saying? Like, when have we heard a pansexual or a demisexual or somebody coming out saying, oh, you straight motherfuckers that don't identify with anything as this, that, in any context? Like, even though, yeah, there are some vegans that don't do that, but like, they're like, people literally just want to live their existence the way that they visualize it being lived, and they ain't bothering nobody. But the rhetoric between a lot of us is that why they shit exists. That shit don't make sense. All these different names for all of this different shit.
I mean, to say that it does change things as it happens, like even with what we're talking about now with them removing the symbol. To say that it has no impact, it does have things do change, and legislation is changing, and so it does change things. To say that it doesn't change anything that has to do with you isn't necessarily true. The symbol maybe not so much because nobody even really noticed that it was there, but there are other things that we have the bathroom issues and those kind of things that have come up where it does impact other people because they are going to have to interact or go to the bathroom or whatever it is. So there are instances where it does impact
psychologically. But since all of that shit,
but it's the same thing with vegan and vegetarian.
Since all of that shit, since all of the arguments about if trans people can start using the bathrooms, they're gonna start going after our kids. Where the report's at? What a fucking evidence to support that old ass argument?
Didn't say that it was true. You said that it doesn't exist the way it does with vegan and vegetarianism because it's people looking down on you.
Okay, yes, it does exist, but psychologically on these people's part.
It's the same with it's psychological with vegan and vegetarian. If somebody just look at you and say you a horrible person because you eat meat, that isn't physically, but that's a psychological thing. That's
I mean, it's not. It's psychological, but there is more direct contact when it comes to the vegan shit versus this stuff. Like always removing the symbol, a woman who is arguing about them taking that symbol off ain't gonna go find a trans person or a non-binary person and say something about that to them. They're just going to voice their angry opinion about it because they don't like the psychological impact of however they interpret what it means about their womanhood or what it means about society and how society is going. It's like their own psychological turmoil when removing that symbol don't physically do shit to nobody. It don't do nothing to nobody. They just have a problem with the concept and the direction that it looked like to them society is going in.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's different than the food shit because we all eat all the time. We all eat every day. It's vegan and meat options everywhere. It's meat. People protesting about meat all the time. We have direct conflict when it comes to shit like meat at some point in our society. But like all of these things, there's no direct conflict. It's just me and you having a conversation about people not caring about these other things that don't have nothing to do with
So you
them.
don't think that there are women who do go up to transgender women and say shit to them?
They ain't gonna go up to transgender women and say you the reason always took that damn symbol off.
Maybe not about that specifically, but as more things get taken away or more things are perceived to be being taken away, it may not be specifically about the always symbol, but it does have an impact on how our interactions with people. If you are somebody that's upset about them taking off that symbol and other things that they do for inclusion, that will absolutely have an impact on how you interact with somebody that's transgender when you see them out or when you're in a social setting with them. That is going to have an impact on direct contact.
I guess the question that has no answer is, as it pertains to inclusion, how far do we go to include and where do we stop? Because this is the conversation we having right now. I don't think it has to ever stop if it don't turn into pansexuals jumping out here saying everybody need to have a fucking good personality. Fuck you assholes. Y'all good personality motherfuckers need to come out. Or if sapiosexuals ain't coming out saying, hey, y'all need to be intelligent. Y'all motherfuckers need to read books and shit because I ain't got nobody to be attracted to because y'all some superficial motherfuckers.
What changes for men? Like, you know how we have them removing the always symbol. You have trying to be more, you know, sometimes we had this conversation between whether you're a real woman or you're a transgender woman. It don't seem like it's that way on y'all side. Like, what things change for y'all or being removed?
Because our battle ain't got nothing to do with the trans community. Our battle is women. Like, we are the oppressors of women. So the stuff we lose is to women.
But I'm saying for like a woman that's a transgender man, the connection could be the same way. There could be things that y'all lose out and say, well, they not a real man, or they not a man, or that shouldn't be taken away because they include them because they're not real men. Y'all don't have that on that side.
Well, that's because toxic masculinity exists so deeply in our culture. We won't even accept calling a transgender man a man. Well, like, we ain't even got to the point where we can accept any parts of this shit. Like, and not only that, but men are the ones that write laws and write legislation and do all kind of shit. Like, I don't think you're gonna see that impacting men to that degree. I mean, hold on, what? Probably the bathroom situation.
I feel like it was more women and parents concerned more about kids than it was men saying about being in the bathroom with a woman that looks like a man.
Because we talked about a report, I think we talked about it on the podcast, where a trans boy used the boy's bathroom and these boys blocked him in and wouldn't let him out.
It's still kids though. I'm talking about grown men.
But what I'm saying, them boys gonna be grown men with same attitudes, and it's grown men out there with them attitudes.
Yeah, but you didn't see stories about grown men blocking somebody in the bathroom. I'm saying,
but you saw a whole bunch of posts about men being the ones saying they don't want women in the man bathroom. I mean, they did focus on kids, but like the men have always come out in, you know, that toxic masculine group have always come out in support of those toxic masculine ideas.
It just seems like it's different on the men's side. It's not as much in the news. It's not as much in the media. It's not as much that y'all have to deal with as far as things being removed and changed for inclusivity.
Well, I mean, and then when you look at trans existence, it's a double whammy for women, because either that person was a woman and is now a trans man, or was a man and is now a trans woman. So the biological components of being a woman still exists for trans men, and men who are biological men who are now trans women are trying to become a part of women. So it's not like trans men who are biological women are out here fighting to goddamn being a Mason and shit. It ain't like they out here fighting to actually be like, they seem to be ones who want to live their life and just be under the radar. But then you're still talking, like, I hate to get into this kind of conversation like this because it gets into how you feel, but you're still talking about somebody who potentially has more estrogen, you know what I'm saying, and is not going to be as aggressive towards being involved with man side of things. Well, when you're talking about trans women, they still have that testosterone. So it really don't surprise me that when you're talking about trans men, or trans women, they're trying to be so deeply embedded in being exactly what a woman is, and their fight for it is so much greater than trans men trying to be what men like. It's just, that's not happening.
It's not.
So it's like, I don't know when they would do that. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like, I don't know. And then what do we even have that's labeled like that? Like, I don't even know what men got that somebody could come over and be like, I want this to change because of this or that. We ain't. I mean, would they be like, I want Captain Morgan to be a woman? You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, because men don't care about Captain Morgan being a man. That
you know what I'm
wouldn't be the
saying? Like, I don't
equivalent.
like what I'm saying is, even, I mean, the only thing that they could probably do for men that'll make men mad is just change representation or something. I really don't
Or
know.
be involved in. So we have transgender men or transgender women. The issue of them being involved in sports, in women's sports, and competing with women, with biological women. You don't really see that on the other side where you have an issue of transgender men competing or wanting to compete with biological men, and there being that issue of fairness or if that's a right or any of those things. There's not an equivalency on the other side, even if it is something that's the same, because that's something that could be the same between both genders. When you become a trans whatever, where do you compete? Who do you compete with? Who are your competitors? And so you have women saying that it isn't fair for somebody that still has all of this testosterone to compete with women when the playing field doesn't seem like it's even if that's what that person identifies as. On competition basis, it's not fair, or there are people who feel like it isn't fair. So it just seemed like y'all don't have, it's not as much on y'all side to deal with as it is when we usually talk about transgender issues and the things that are going on. It's usually transgender, it's usually women be on the other side of that. And it just becomes, it's the same. I feel overwhelmed at just about everything, about being black, about being a woman.
And I mean,
it's
like,
just overwhelming. It's too much.
This goes into misogyny and sexism. I mean, if you have men who will never accept a trans man, somebody who is a biological woman, they always going to look at that person as inferior, because as a group, we've always looked at women as inferior. So men gonna be like, yeah, you can come race with us. We're gonna smoke your ass, but you can come race with us. You know, because biologically, I guess our biological makeup indicates that a woman is supposed to be slower than a man. And
I mean, the hormones help. Trans man has a lot more hormones than a biological woman does, just because of the hormones that they take.
But
to
I
grow
don't think
hair and stuff.
I don't think that increases the amount of power in your leg when you take off in a race.
I mean, it gives them more muscle mass. Have you seen the difference, like the transitions from when somebody was a woman to when they transition? The testosterone does give you more muscle mass. They do bulk up. It does more than just give you hair.
I know it gives you more, but I mean, I'm talking about, I guess I'm looking at it like still somebody who whole body hadn't been trained to utilize that muscle mass, is still going to be at a disadvantage, even if you got muscle mass. I mean, I guess maybe. Just like it don't matter how much estrogen a trans woman takes, they like, these races are indicating that they ass is smoking women to the point that it's become a problem.
Wow.
So even though there are measures that changes you physically to that other one, it's still not enough to indicate that there is a level of fairness in these sports. But that goes back to we having a conversation. And we don't know where we gonna land at the end of that conversation on this, but this shit ain't gonna slow down, man. Best thing you can do is be informed about what all this shit means. You don't have to. I don't think you have to.
You don't, because
if you don't live that. But I'm one that's interested in.
Well, you're gonna come into contact with a lot more people who have a potential to have these issues than like Shogun or Cole Jackson or anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like regular, you're not gonna come into contact with a lot of these people that identifies a lot of this shit. Because of the nature of what we do as a profession, you're more likely to come into contact. So it makes sense that you would need to know about that, because you need to be able, in order to help them, you have to understand that. But average Joe out here, they ain't gonna, I mean, they really don't have unless they just have a curiosity about it. They're not gonna, they could probably live their whole life and never come into contact with any of these folks if they want to.
Yeah.
If they don't want to, they can avoid it. But since we talking about sexuality and orientation, Tank was on Angela Yee's, was it her podcast?
Yeah, lip service.
I don't even know how they got to this conversation, but everybody's up in uproar because Tank said that a man having oral sex with a man 2 times does not mean that he is gay. And men everywhere was like, that shit gay as fuck. If you suck a dick, you're gay, basically, is what the conversation has been. But so this goes back to the episode where we had Michael on, and he was talking about his friend who was having trouble with women. I don't know how prevalent this particular situation is, but he talked about his friend who wasn't having luck with women, and so he decided he was gonna try men, and he didn't like it. He found that he didn't like it. So then, with that situation specifically, is he gay? That's basically what this conversation is about, and what Tank is saying. And the way that Tank is explaining it, he's not gay. He's somebody who tried it out, found out he didn't like it. He's a straight man. But for people who think that anything that you do with the same sex at any time it makes you gay, they are like, Tank is crazy. You gay. People are calling him gay because they're assuming he's so passionate, or he was mentioning this because he has sucked a dick or two. It's like, and found out he didn't like it.
This is toxic masculinity at its finest moment. This is what I be talking about when I said labels. Like, we decide what somebody's sexuality is because of behavior that we see that we don't think is appropriate, and it is no worse. All that them other ones we talking about, all them other demons, all that shit that we was talking about, don't make a difference when it comes to a man being straight or gay. We got the answer. We are gonna call you what we think you are. We gonna tell you what we think those behaviors are, and you gonna be gay forever. If a dude sucked the meat, like this dialogue is, if a dude sucked the meat twice when he was 17 and been with women ever since, when our society find out that he did that, he gay. That's the society we got. That man could be 42 years old. Well, yeah, I sucked some meat about 30 years ago. It wasn't really pleasant. One more thing, just me and a couple of boys just being weird, I guess, and that shit wasn't for me. Been with women ever since, and we gonna call him gay. Period.
I don't understand. I guess because, like, I feel like a lot of men think all women experiment, and like in college, we all go and just be fucking around with each other. I have never had a curiosity about being with a woman. Like, it just ain't never. I find women attractive as far as I can say that she's physically attractive. I like the physical characteristics that she has. But as far as being sexually attracted to women, it just ain't there. It ain't never been there. It's never been. And I've had women, when I was in college, there was this girl, everybody kept telling me that she was gay. I did not see anything. She didn't tell me she was. So I was like, whatever. Whatever. And did she tell me in person, or did she text me and sent me a message asking me if I had ever thought about crossing over to the other side? And I was like, nope. So, I mean, if I had a curiosity, that would have been an opportune time for me to, like, try some shit out. But it just never has been appealing to me. Like, I just don't find women attractive in that way. Like, I can find you physically attractive as far as physical characteristics that I know are attractive. But as far as being sexually attracted to women, no.
But also, women don't have the same stigmas as men.
Because men think women together is sexy, and they don't have a problem with it.
Women think women together is sexy most of the time. No, you're on the far end of the spectrum, okay? But, like, women don't have a problem with women in that regard. Like, Hollywood can't put a gay scene in a movie. Period. But they put all kind of women scenes in movies. Like, as a society, as a whole, it's more palatable.
Well, because women, it's the same way that you're gonna see titties in a movie and you don't see dicks, or you'll see a naked ass woman and you don't ever see a whole naked ass man. Like, women are just deemed to be more, I guess, I don't know. I've never even understood that, like why there's a difference in those things, or why you can go to like.
Men are just burly and nasty and roll around in the mud and just play around. Don't nobody want to see that shit.
But straight women that find men attractive do want to see that. That's not true.
No, they want to see that from the man they with and they crush. And you know what? You're never gonna see Denzel naked.
No.
Okay, ever.
No, we won't.
All right. That's what women want. Women want it from the dude that they're with or they're interested in, or they want it in that moment where there's a dude in front of them and they can have it, and they want to see it from their crush. They don't want to see no random ass Jake Gyllenhaal just butt naked in no goddamn movie.
Yeah.
You don't want to see Christian Bale just walking around naked for no damn reason.
Some women, or somebody that has a crush on him.
It goes into that when you want to see him mode. You know what I'm saying?
I'd like to see it.
Men like all titties.
Yes.
Men like all booties. Men like all body frames that look good. That's the difference. Y'all don't have a one size fits all. Just show me the meats.
No.
That's all I want to see, the meats. And women who want that, they go find the Chippendales. They go find the male strip clubs.
Yes.
They do that. And there's not that many of those women. That's why, isn't a male strip club around here?
No.
A whole bunch of
Gotta go to
strip
Atlanta.
clubs like that. That's the dynamic in our society. So, as a man, you can't show no level of attraction.
But I think
let a video go viral of a daddy kissing his son on the lips. That shit gonna be bad.
Parents thinking kissing their kids in the mouth is weird anyway. My mom never did that. She kissed our forehead, our cheeks. I ain't never kissed my mama or my dad on the lips. It's weird.
Think it's weird.
I think it's weird.
It's cultural. It is what it is. It wasn't a part of my culture, but Italians and shit do that shit all the time. Different cultures do that shit.
Yeah.
But like, so to go to, I agree with Tank. If I'm a person who looks at sexuality on a scale, and I've always represented myself as a person that looks at sexuality on a scale, then one, doing one thing don't mean you're that thing forever. It can't mean that. There's gotta be, like, even as men, it's irrational if you say a man that sucked a meat a couple of times is gay. It's irrational. Like, as men, we got to be more reasonable than that. Can we at least have a fucking time frame on it? You know what I'm saying? Let's say if you go 5 years between meats in your mouth, then you reset or some shit like that.
I mean, there's certain things that you'll be forever if you do it once. Pedophile gonna always be looked at as a pedophile. Murderer gonna always be looked at as a murderer. There are things
because they did it. Because they murdered somebody.
But I'm saying,
also there's no other options outside of murdering them. Like,
but you say, like, you could say, okay, I murdered somebody, but it was 20 years ago. I'm no longer a murderer. Or I was messing around with little girls, but it was 20 years ago. I'm no longer a pedophile.
No, when it comes to sexuality, there's options outside of sucking meats. You can eat a taco, okay? You can spread some legs open, put your face in that for the next 20 years, and that's like, you can't unmurder somebody. Because so the equivalent would be
you can't unsuck a dick either. Like, the dick was sucked. That happened.
You can't unsuck a dick, but you can live the alternate version of what dick sucking represents.
You can live the alternate version of not murder. You can never murder anybody else a day in your life. You can also never fuck around with kids again. But we ain't gonna look at you and say, well, he only did it one time. I agree with you and Tank. All I'm saying is that there are things that you can do that you will be forever labeled, even if you do that shit one time. People gonna look at you and always be like, that's the nigga that. Perfect example. Listen, my own family. He ain't murdered nobody. I've told y'all this story before. My cousin stabbed a woman because he thought she was cheating on him. He ain't stabbed nobody ever again. We still look at this nigga different, okay? He is somebody that I love with all my heart. He would do anything for me. I would do anything for him. But I look at him a little different since then. And it was years ago, and he's not had any more violent outburst incidents with anybody else.
Yeah.
Well, he may never.
This is the thing. When you suck some dicks and you go on to be straight, you can identify yourself as straight. If you've murdered somebody and gone on to live a life without murdering anymore, you can't identify yourself as not a murderer. You did that shit.
But you did. But you weren't gay. Yeah, I get what
you know
you're
what I'm saying. Like you can't. That action happened, and you can't say that I live an alternate life. Like it's not like. So what I'm saying is, if you suck some dicks and you consider yourself as straight, then as a society, as men, we don't accept that. We say, no, you ain't. You suck them dicks. You gay.
Well, there are. So the only place that I have seen where people are willing to not say that you gay for sucking dick is when people suck dick for drugs. Like when people have drug addictions and they suck dick, people don't like hold that against them. I mean, they hold being a drug addict and like they gonna look at you different for that, but like nobody says you're gay because you was sucking dick when you wanted your crack. Like that's the only time I've seen where people don't put that label on you. They just, oh, that was the crack. That nigga was high off his ass when he did that.
Yeah, cause what them roasting memes about Richard Pryor?
Oh yeah,
he sucked some dick and fucked some men.
He did.
Like he did all that shit. And you know what? We let it go because he funny as hell. Tank don't sing good enough for this.
Tank ain't even like a popular singer now. Does he even still make music?
I'm sure he still make music. Yeah, they don't stop making music. He probably
It's just not
he had to have come out with a new album because the only reason they ever be on this podcast and radio shows is that they came out with an album. He got to have an album now.
Maybe he does.
Hold on, I'm gonna go check.
Yeah, because he was
feel like he
the only
got to
reason
have
I
an
say that
album.
is because he was mainstream. Tank was on the radio. He ain't on the radio now. So it's not like he always been like a Jasmine Sullivan where she always been kind of underground or whatever. Tank was mainstream. He just ain't no more. So I didn't know if he had current albums or not.
Album just came out.
Okay. What's the name of it?
Elevation.
Oh, okay. He's trying to elevate everybody's minds.
Trying to find a song that looked like it's titled after sucking a couple of meats. He got one called WWJD. What would Jesus do?
Is it a gospel album?
No, it's not.
So WWJD can't mean what would Jesus do?
I know, but he wants you to believe that's what it means until you hear the song, because that's the only frame of reference we got.
Yeah, I wonder what it is what it does stand for. I'm gonna look up the lyrics to it now. I just want to know what the WWJD is actually.
Ain't no telling.
WWJD by Tank. I don't even. May not have no lyrics.
So it look like, and so what I'm saying is, I don't think
it said tank tops. They didn't think I was talking about the artist.
Oh shit. I don't think that the reality is sucking a couple dicks when you're young might mean you gay. But that's something that you gotta admit to and you gotta acknowledge and you gotta tell me yourself. You gotta tell me that you bisexual. Or you gotta tell me that you experiment. If you tell me that you straight, I really don't care what you've done in your past, you straight. And that's different than if you say you straight and you're not living in your truth because you sucking meats in the back alley in your spare time. That's different. You know what I'm saying? But if whatever you've done in your past, if you're telling me that you straight and you only mess with women, I'm not looking at your past to indict you on your sexuality. That's not what I'm doing. That's just me.
I found the lyrics, but it doesn't have any. There's no. I don't know what.
It ain't no like a scenario. Like maybe I deserve. That whole song was a whole scenario.
But he said maybe. So I've been reaching out my hand trying to make you understand that you don't have to be alone. Oh, you don't have to be. Then he said you don't have to be alone 50 times. Baby, can we get along? You don't have to be alone. Tonight I want your body. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to be alone. Tonight I want your body. You don't have to be alone. And the verses are, because I feel like I could be your medicine. I can change the vibe of your environment. Lay up with you in bed. You're lying in the bed. You're lying in. Don't keep me waiting too long. Don't keep me waiting. So I don't know what the fuck WWJD has to do with any of this. There's no like WWJD anywhere in this goddamn song. I don't know why. I don't know.
And what would Jesus do?
It can't be what would Jesus do.
You think Jesus ever got some trim?
According to the Bible, he didn't.
But the Bible is full of lies.
I look, I don't know what he did. Okay, I don't know. I'm not
Jesus
sure.
lived till he 33.
He did.
He ain't hit nothing.
He
I don't
supposedly
know, man.
he was supposed to
Maybe he
have.
got some head.
He hung out with Mary Magdalene, but that was because he hung out with everybody, not because he was getting head from
I'm
them.
just
Even though
saying,
she was
man.
a hoe.
I mean, somebody had to have tried to pay him back with sex for some miracle.
But he might have said no. He might have turned it down. And
Since
tried to.
technically Jesus is God, I guess it would be God being like, nah.
Well,
Or maybe God would be like, I want to see what this about.
Jesus isn't God. He's
Yes,
his
he
son.
is.
He's
The Holy
his,
Trinity.
He's his son.
No, they're all connected.
They're not the same thing, though. The
They
Holy
are clearly
Spirit.
they different.
So just 'cause if Jesus gets some trim, that don't impact God. God, it's not like God could be like, woo, that's what they going on about.
But he could.
I guess if he wanted to, he could do that.
Look, listen. God, apparently, if God is real, he created the feeling of an orgasm. God can live in a constant state of orgasm if he want to. Okay? He made that shit. He probably got some shit up there way better than orgasm. Like, when you get to heaven, you could probably just eat a Skittle and just have the orgasm feel. Like, why would you go to heaven and that shit that we have down here get took away?
We're supposed to just be praising and worshiping him in heaven.
We gotta have some perks.
Milk and honey.
That motherfucker gonna have to erase my whole memory for that.
Milk and honey.
I'm just saying, they gonna have to erase my whole memory for that. I ain't finna be up in heaven remembering what a nut feel like, and all we do is praise and worship. That's probably how the angels started leaving and going to hell the first time.
All of the religious people are dying.
They was out there like, God, how you gonna give these humans nuts? I see how that shit look. Orgasm look amazing, and we up here with Satan. He trying to leave, and we don't even get to have some nuts. I'm going to hell. He probably wouldn't even call hell then. He like, I'm going to Satan crib. You know what I'm saying? You done created these humans and it gave us more pleasure than we got, and then you tell us we gotta babysit their ass? Nigga, please. You gonna go to hell.
Oh my God, I hate you.
I'm sorry, church crowd.
Yeah, you just shook them up real bad. But yeah, I mean, it is toxic masculinity. There's always been a different. Even in lesbians are looked at completely different than gay and homosexual men. That's just what it is. Like, again, men look at lesbian women and imagine like if they could be a part of it. Like, so they don't have a problem with it for the most part, because they like think it's gonna be like a bad porn where they're just gonna happen to be there and they're gonna be invited to be.
Like I said, women used to be property. Okay, 2 Xboxes is better than 1. All right. So if a woman was property, to me, 2 property women was better than 1. Especially if I can tell them what to do. If I could tell my 2 Xboxes to combine their power and make like a super Xbox, why the fuck wouldn't I do that? I love the Xboxes.
Oh my God.
So women not being property is a problem, but men get to still see women as that collaborate from the lens of that collaboration.
I guess, man, I don't know, but folks was getting in, and Tanks, he doubled down, like, because of course when it first came out, people was talking shit, and he doubled down and was like, I meant what I said.
I mean, what's the opposite? What's the opposite? Because what if it was Tank? What if Tank did suck a couple of meats? He's supposed to come back around and say, I was wrong, y'all. If you suck a couple of meats, you're gay. You're gay. It don't matter. You're gay. That's what he supposed. No. That shit is irrational. I just want men to understand how irrational it is. It's just not rational. You can't apply that to shit else. Motherfucker be like, well, they were kids. Well, we change constantly over our lifetime.
We do.
So I judge you by what you tell me you are. Okay? If you tell me you straight, then you straight.
Oh, I ain't gonna tell that lie because
I'm saying if you tell me you straight, you straight. If you tell me you straight and I found out you sucking some meats, you bi.
I don't. So I wish I could say that, but if I was dating a man, or if I met a man, if I went out on a date with a man who had it seemed off to me, I'm not gonna take his word that he's straight. That might be a situation where I might be like,
Then it ain't no point of even bringing it up. You might as well just leave him alone.
I ain't gonna bring it up for what? It don't matter. Yeah, I
At
ain't
some
gonna
point
just
you
leave it
gotta bring it
alone.
up. You gonna meet a real masculine dude who cool and y'all chilling for 2 years, and he gonna be like, this movie remind me of the time I sucked them dicks. And you gonna realize your whole system is flawed because you were using your eyes to determine whether he had any other traits. But there's a lot of down low brothers out
There's
here.
tons of down low. But the thing about down low men is that it's almost impossible to tell. But that's the nature of them being down low. What I'm saying is the things that I can see with my eyes, I use that in my judgment or in what I decide whether or not I'm gonna move forward. The shit I can't see, I can't do nothing about. The whole nature of being down low means that people don't know because they don't have any of those attributes that you would normally tag to that person, or they might be overly masculine.
That's why you ask them if they want to be pegged.
That's not. I feel like a down low man would be like, hell no, because they separate themselves from that completely. So they ain't gonna admit to, yeah, you like pegging niggas? Yeah, let's do that. I feel like somebody that was on the down low would still not want that to be known. They would just keep having Johnny on the side. He wouldn't have me do it. He would just be going to his homeboy house a lot. They had game night and shit all the time. It's poker night.
He ain't really interested in you anyway. He want Johnny anyway. He just pretending to be interested in you.
Because society tells him it's not okay for him to be with
Johnny. He get his meat hard with you thinking about Johnny.
Oh, God. Please don't let that ever happen because I'll go to jail. Ain't a lot of things I would go to prison for, but that's one.
I ain't coming to visit you.
Living your truth shit.
I ain't coming to visit you.
Why you ain't gonna come visit me? That's fucked up. Why?
Nope. Because you be a murderer.
Okay.
You can't unmurder.
But I can live the whole rest of my life and not murder anyone ever
And Orange is the New Black. That's what your life gonna be. And I ain't finna come here to hear your sad stories about something. I can't do nothing about that. You made that decision. You can't even pay me for gas. You're gonna be calling me, asking me to put shit on your books. That's a burden. I got a family. I don't need this. Fuck, I'm old. No.
So your friendship is conditional. It's not unconditional.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, well, it's good
You
to
know
know.
me. I ain't sentimental and all that shit.
No, you're not.
Like, if you got locked up, I'd just be like, well, goddamn. Guess I'm gonna have to do the podcast myself. There ain't gonna be nobody else I can do it with that's gonna feel the same. I'm just gonna do it solo. So yeah.
Good to know. I know who did not call to put money on my books.
Yeah, my friends. If I'm rich, then maybe. You know what I'm saying?
No, you
I can
probably
help you
still
out.
wouldn't do it.
I can help you out. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know. Don't rule me out. Don't expect me to come visit your ass.
Okay.
Letters? I don't know. I send emails. I ain't handwriting shit. If they let y'all have like some prison email shit, I'll do that.
It seems like, that website, the dating website they have, you can send messages through that.
If
so.
you need me to send you some pictures of some men's with naked meats or some naked men's with meat, I'll send you some stuff. Since you clearly ain't gonna get with the sexuality in there.
No. I actually had somebody tell me that they had what they thought was going to be a life sentence, and she was like, she had lesbian relationships because she just figured she wasn't going to be able to have no other kind of relationship, and then she ended up getting out and went back to being. I just don't imagine.
It's low risk for women though, man.
Even if it's low, I don't find women sexually attractive, so I just don't, even in being in there forever, like.
But the way I see you is you ain't even that sexual anyway. So, and I don't know if that's the case, but you don't seem that sexual.
I'm just not. I don't talk about it.
Well, what I'm saying is I think that people in those situations get into a point where they're looking for that closeness and that connection. And
You can have some homegirls. We could be cool, but like.
I'm saying if like
I'm munching no carpet though. That's
if the
too
thing,
much.
I mean, if the Thanos snap just took all the men away, you have a woman with a strap. You might not go down on her or nothing, but you gonna have a woman with a strap on going at you. And it wouldn't be no more point for the hollow strap-ons because ain't no meats. Maybe for a woman that got one of them extra long, supersized clitorises.
Thanos would never do that. He was about balance, and taking all the men away is imbalance.
I guess you're right.
So he would never do that.
I guess you're right. He wouldn't do that. Maybe. But somehow he left the original Avengers. That seemed to be an odd twist.
Well, I don't. But
I wonder how specific the stuff he had to say in his head. All right, I want to snap away half the population, but I wanted to maintain balance. So not all like men and female ratio have to be equal. And like how?
I don't know. I don't know.
And did
how.
he have a component in there for trans men and trans women when he was thinking that?
Doubt it. Thanos don't really seem like. Well, he was. Did he? I don't know, cause like his daughters were snatched up. Like, is he even like have a sexuality? Like he had though. He took them from the planets he destroyed. He ain't had no biological kids. Do they have kids? Like I don't. Is he even a sexual being? I don't know, cause the kids he had, but he just kept them from the planets he destroyed.
I don't know.
He ain't had no biological children.
No. I'm sure he got a meat and he done used it before.
What's your next story?
None, because we got 2 hours.
Oh shit! Oh, okay.
What other story did you have? I ain't had none else.
Only other thing. Oh, Kanye West admits he asked people working on his album to abstain from premarital intercourse during them working on his album. That if you didn't fuck, whatever. Because saying don't have no more premarital sex, if you've already had, that's not how that works. That's just not how that works. Once you're not a virgin anymore, you're not a virgin anymore. Like that's just what it is. But maybe he thought it would be a distraction. I don't really fucking know.
Yeah, Kanye West is.
I'm not listening to that album. And then Instagram is to remove all the selfie filters that mimic plastic surgery. So all these catfishes finna have to use the outside apps to because it's still gonna happen. It just won't be through Instagram app.
It's finna do what?
Move all of the filters that make it look like you had plastic surgery. So like any other ones that make you look slimmer or.
Why is it doing that?
Huh?
Why are they doing that?
Catfishing.
That ain't their problem.
Oh, why is Instagram doing that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It ain't.
I don't know, but it ain't gonna stop shit because you got Facetune. You have outside apps that people can edit their photos on and then still upload it to Instagram. It ain't gonna change shit.
Yeah, it's not.
Still gonna be the same. So don't know.
Whatever. Anyway, you got anything else on your mind?
I do not.
Well, until we come to the next conversation.
We out.
Holla.